all other providers of cab providers in New Zealand are providing it for 8 weeks. They say it like almost 3 months. And why you are providing only for 1 month? And what is there any advantage in doing that? My next question is to Rajesh sir. Why he is selecting most of his candidates to do cab course in Lonsdale? So that is the question. And what are the advantages of doing cab course in Lonsdale as compared to others?
Well, technically, it's not actually a 1 month course. Our course is actually done over a few months. So when you purchase, it's split into two. Part 1 and part 2. Part 1 you do overseas.
When I do the applications, let it be the business visa, or after that when I do my work visa for the candidates, especially when I'm doing my business visa, Kim, what I find is like your documentation is perfect. The documents which I get from the candidates which you issued them in
Hi all, good morning. Welcome back to another episode of Saavumilu. So today's session will be in English. It's just because of the content and the guest. So today I'm going to clear all the doubts and clarifications that you have been asking for a couple of months and for a year now regarding cab course in New Zealand. And today I'm sitting in Lonsdale Education Center where I started my cab. I completed my cab. So I'm very privileged to sit here with my guest. I'll show you who my guest is. My New Zealand journey started with Rtlaw, as I already told in a couple of videos. I started my New Zealand processing with Rajesh sir. So my first guest is Rajesh Somas from Rtlaw firm, and he's based in Dunedin, and you have seen many videos along with Rajesh sir. He shares a lot of informative sessions regarding immigration and confidential matters in New Zealand. So he's my first guest, and we welcome you, sir, to the small interview session.
Thank you, Ronia.
And my another guest is, so as I said, my journey started with Rtlaw. I went to my first person and I reached to the second person. This is Kim McLellan, General Manager of Lonsdale Education Center. So I'll be asking a quick sessions like some of your doubts and clarifications that you may need to know regarding Lonsdale CAP education program, because I have been receiving a lot of messages and my emails and personal calls regarding CAP course in Lonsdale, why it is only for 1 month and while other providers are giving CAP course for 3 months. That is my first questions to Kim regarding. So all other providers of CAP providers in New Zealand are providing it for 8 weeks. They say it like almost 3 months. And why you are providing only for 1 month? And what is there any advantage in doing that? Or I know the answer because I am a candidate of Lonsdale and I'm very privileged to do. And this is when I got an opportunity to meet both of them together. So I'm using it for you. So I'm just asking you, what is the difference between 1 month CAP course and 3 month CAP course like others do?
Well, technically, it's not actually a 1 month course. Our course is actually done over a few months. So when you purchase, it's split into two. Part 1 and part 2. Part 1 you do overseas. It's online learning. It's what you would do. Online learning is very much a way to do professional development in New Zealand. And you can spend a couple of weeks doing the online learning. A lot of candidates don't seem to be taking the time to actually read and digest the information, but actually the online learning there is going to take you a couple of weeks if you actually work through it properly. So you add that onto your 1 month coming to New Zealand, you're doing a lot. It's not just a 1 month course. So part 1 is done generally overseas before you come to New Zealand. And then you come to New Zealand when you get your visa and you go into placement, and that's up to 4 weeks. So sometimes a clinical placement does not need to be 4 weeks. It could be shorter or it could be slightly longer, and that depends on the candidate's abilities, experience, communication, how you pick up the New Zealand nursing culture here. We're accredited by Nursing Council in New Zealand to run a CAP course. The way we run our CAP course is very different to other providers, but it doesn't mean we're any different or the qualification is any different, because at the end of the day, we're working on behalf of Nursing Council to check that you're safe and competent to practice.
Thank you. So I think that session is over. So you have already got enough information regarding what Lonsdale does for, regarding CAP course. And my next question is to Rajesh sir, why he is selecting most of his candidates to do CAP course in Lonsdale. So that is the question. And what are the advantages of sir doing CAP course in Lonsdale as compared to others?
Thank you, Ronia. The first and the foremost thing for me to tell you is I'm selecting Lonsdale for my clients and candidates is because I have faith with Lonsdale. I know the content, I know what is being provided, I know the quality of the program, I know how much of work is being going in behind the scenes to get through your CAP, to provide you the CAP course and how to get through all those things. And the other thing, very important thing is the flexibility which regarding the start date flexibilities which Lonsdale offers, nobody else offers. And the other thing, the biggest advantage is you are getting first, even before you're going to come to New Zealand, you're having an opportunity to do your theory part online. Now, some people say, for instance, they're not even able to cope. Say, for instance, they're not able to cope with the theory. Then they have the choice of either stop discontinuing the program then and there and not to proceed further. Just take for instance, somebody is going to jump on a plane, come to New Zealand to do the entire CAP program here. After the first 2 weeks of program, and if they're not able to pass, they fail. They paid the whole entire fees there. So, everything goes waste for them. The dreams and everything has gone waste. Whereas if you're back in India, you have the option of, focusing, studying, giving it a couple of more tries, so you can get to the point where where you are expected to be, and after that you can come here. So when you're coming here itself, you know that you're met a certain criteria, certain standards. You already know that, so which gives you the confidence to go on and do the rest of it, come out on the other side successfully. So that is also one of the reasons I'm selecting Lonsdale. The third one is 2 days back, I got a text from one of my clients who approached me sometime middle of last year or early part of last year, who had offer letter from a different institution. I don't want to name the place. And so she was supposed to start a CAP in October, but there were some delays with the visas. She started the CAP in January, and she finished the CAP, and I got a text from her yesterday saying that it'll take up to 3 months to get their annual practitioner certificate. Whereas from candidates, all my candidates who've done the CAP from Lonsdale, they normally do it they get it in 7 days.
It's 5 to 10 working days.
Yeah.
So 10 working days, Nursing Council says from when we send it in, it's give them up to 10 working days. However, at the moment, Nursing Council are sending them in or issuing them within 5 working days.
Before finishing our CAP course, we have a job already in our hands. Already we are doing CAP for 1 month, placement for 1 month, and we're coming from another country and we don't have job in my hand. And we have to spend everything, our expense, accommodation, and everything. It's quite expensive to stay in another country without job. So with getting registration within a week of completing CAP courses, that there is nothing more we want really.
Because you also want to get your then you've got to wait for your visa. So you've got to have your registration before you get your visa.
Yes, everything it's a fast process. It's a fast process where we are doing CAP in Lonsdale, and I know already. I've been explaining to all those who were asking me, but it's the chance I got the authorized person here. So I wanted it to be. If you're listening from the person who is providing CAP course and the advantages that explained by them, it is more advantageous for you. And
I just got a couple of more things to add on here. It's very, very important. And then when I'm also doing the paper, like the when I do the applications, let it be the business visa, or after that when I do my work visa for the candidates, especially when I'm doing my visitors visa, Kim, what I find is like your documentation is perfect. The documents which I get from the candidates which you issued them in relation to the CAP programs are perfect. So when I'm going to upload these applications, the immigration officer looks at it, it's all clear. It's like he's done part 1, he's done part 2, he's paid part 1 fees, part 2 fees, a completion certificate of part 1, and then I'll support letter from you. So the immigration officer who's going to go through it is very clear. So I don't get any questions at all. Whereas if I had in the past, when I had done with other polytechnics, I get like numerous number of questions based on the offer letter which I get from these other institutions. So that is also and that's another one big advantage I find. Likewise, when you finish your CAP and you go on to do your work visa applications, and you give the CAP completion certificate, which is very important because there is a question in the work visa application like, do you meet the qualifications set for the work requirement? There will be 2 qualifications set. One is a bachelor's degree and one is course completion of CAP completion. So obviously everybody got a CAP, like the degree certificate back from India. But other institutions, I don't know, we find it really hard to get a course completion from them, whereas you have normally always have seen a Lonsdale course completion certificate. So it makes life easy for the candidate and for the visa officer, because the moment they say, oh, there's a course, yes, they have completed the course. Yes, they have an annual practicing certificate. Yes, they have a job. So system just works in well. So from a lawyer's point of view, a person who's filing the visa's point of view, I really prefer to work with Lonsdale because of the paper documentations they give me. So it is just not one reason why I prefer working with Lonsdale. There's so many reasons, and so yeah, this is everything in a nutshell.
And I suppose with us as well, we've got the ability, being a sole provider of CAP, that's our main business that we run, we can adapt and adjust quite quickly. We don't have the bureaucracy and the big institutions where we are held by certain processes. We're very quick to be able to change our process quite happily to see either meet demand, market, what immigration New Zealand needs, what nursing council needs. So that's the beauty of also, us, that we can make changes according to requirements.
Yeah. So do you have any advice for the upcoming nurses, those who are coming from overseas for doing CAP, especially in Lonsdale? So if you want to share some advice, or do you need to, take care about before coming to New Zealand, so just can share here. So they're definitely going to see this, and before coming to New Zealand, it will be helpful for them as well to know about what is your expectation about them, Yeah.
I suppose it's just embracing the online learning and to actually go through the content carefully and read it. And if you don't quite understand things in certain ways, go back and revise it, especially before you come to New Zealand. So you might do your online learning, and 2 months' time you get your visa, and then you come to New Zealand and you've sort of forgotten some of the information. I highly recommend that you go back and revise all the information that you have done before you come, just so it's fresh in your mind. You understand the code of conduct, the professional boundaries, treaty, cultural safety aspects. It's really important. And start practicing English. I know it's hard for me to say because obviously I speak English all the time, but it's one thing that candidates struggle a lot with in their clinical placements is language and communicating with patients. We're very open, and we talk to our patients about anything and everything, and so it's just trying to get to know your patients on a personal level to a degree, and being comfortable doing that. So, it could be a matter of just talking about, the weather, or what the pictures that are on their wall in their room, things like that. That kind of helps you when you're here to get to know your patients and to practice that language. If you were to struggle a little bit with communication, our tutors are amazing and they work really closely with you, and you would be given tools and steps to work on where the issues lay, where you might not be quite meeting New Zealand expectations. We run a success model rather than focusing on your failure. So, you come loaded with lots of experience and knowledge, and we want to bring that out. In New Zealand, we sort of expect that nurses can use their critical thinking and knowledge, and we kind of held it a really high regard. And I was talking to a candidate the other day at Wellington, and I said to her, how have you found working with the doctors in the hospital compared to your previous practice? And she said, I can't believe the doctors actually ask the nurses what they expect, what they think we should be doing for the patient. And so that's quite a different concept. The nurses work very hard and work autonomously in New Zealand, and the doctors rely on the nurses for their input, their feedback, their knowledge, their understanding of what's going on with their patients, because nurses are the experts in the patient's care here. So brushing up your knowledge and skills, your communication, thinking about if I'm a quiet person, how can I portray myself in another confident light? If I was to be asked by a doctor here what I thought should happen with my patient, or what the treatment plan for my patient should be, how would you respond to the doctor? What would be your sort of advice? And I think a lot of candidates, once they're here and they grasp the concept of autonomous practice, they absolutely love it, and they love working with the doctors at that level rather than the different hierarchy. You sort of seem to be on the same level. I think we sort of are on the same level as the doctors, really. It's a nice way to work here. So feeling confident in your ability to communicate, and if you don't understand something, also being confident to say, look, I didn't understand that, can you repeat it, is really important here. On the other side as well, if if your patients are struggling to understand you, getting that feedback from them and spending more time with your patients. You've got 4 weeks in clinical placement. Yes, some places have a longer period of time, but 4 weeks isn't very long and it goes very fast. So I suppose taking that on board and thinking, how can I be successful? How can I get the most out of my clinical placement in those 4 weeks? And it is intense 4 weeks, but most of our candidates, we've tried 2 weeks in placement and we've tried 6 weeks in placement, and there's not really much difference. It's just the effort that the candidate puts in is what they get out of their clinical placement.
So long story short, 1 month placement and 3 months placement is the same. I am a registered nurse now here after completing camp in Lonsdale. My husband is a registered nurse. We are all settled here. We are a permanent residents now. So you all can do it. So thank you for your time, both of you. And I'll see you in next video with another informative sessions. And thank you for watching this. And have a good luck and those who are waiting or planning to come to New Zealand, or waiting with the deal, or getting, struggling to get camp admissions. So you're all ready to go. Come to New Zealand, welcome. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you, both of you, for your time. And I will see you in next video. Thank you, bye.